This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
And Doc, as you know, one of our fine partners at the Detroit Sports Podcast Network is The Athletic. And The Athletic Detroit specifically is premium coverage for passionate, very passionate Detroit sports fans. And listeners of this very episode of Tigers Talk with Chirco and Company can get 30% off the first year of an annual subscription to The Athletic by visiting today, theathletic.com/DSP. And welcome to the latest, the freshest edition of Tigers Talk with Chirco and Company. I am your host, Vito Geronimo Chirco, alongside my usual sidekick and broadcast partner in fun. That is Doc from Doc and Jock, John Charles McElroon. John, how are you doing?
Vito, always look forward to recording, doing very well. I'm excited to talk baseball with you. This is going to be a very fine episode. Episode 154 of Tigers Talk with Chirco and Company. We're going to talk about the week that was for the Detroit Tigers. Very interesting stuff in that the first attempt to trade Mike Fiers to Oakland did not work, but in the end, he cleared waivers, and in the month of August, now for the Detroit Tigers, the last 2 years, they have made moves in the month of August. Mike Fiers is now a member of the Oakland A's, and definitely in the second half of the podcast, we'll break down your softball game. I had a great time. I'm feeling a little bit better as of this recording. I guess as a catcher in a slow-pitch softball game, a catcher's supposed to stand up. I was not aware of that. I play catcher like the way I thought that I'd seen in the past, where you crouch and things like that. It didn't hurt at the time. I was excited to play, and it was my first venture into playing softball, and doing it for your Chirco and Company charity game was very fun. I can't wait to recap it with you in the second half of the podcast. But first things first, man, Vito, the Tigers, I think now have hit this swoon where they're on pace to probably lose 95 to 100 games. It's pretty bad the last couple weeks.
But they beat the Reds, right? Back-to-back games, a two-game set. They beat the Reds. You were there for both games at Comerica Park covering it as credentialed media. Once again, let's give a plug and a shout-out to the Tigers for credentialing us and for you being there and getting that instant access to Al Avila, recapping the trade deadline moves before the non-waiver trade deadline on July 31. So you were there on July 31 in August 1 against the Reds and saw some great Tigers winning baseball, actually, for once this campaign.
And it goes to show you that based on your past experience, you definitely can get a sense of what's happening in the world of sports. And so if you saw and you followed us via Twitter on our Twitter page at Detroit Podcast, because of the fact that the network doesn't have clubhouse access, I'm kind of finding my way through the stands. And I kind of had a feeling like, okay, the trade deadline's about to hit. It's going to be an important day. Al Avila is probably going to address the media. I don't think he's going to want to talk to 40 people in the clubhouse. So I make my way down. I took a picture of me next to the clubhouse, and I made a joke. I said, I'm getting all the breaking news, but I'm only going to share it with Vito. Little did I know, literally maybe after like 5 minutes after that tweet, all of a sudden you see the media scrum all pop up from the clubhouse, and there's Al Avila, and I'm like, perfect. So I run onto the field, I run into the dugout, and I position myself right in the prime spot where all the networks saw me live on the ticket.
And you were loving life because of that, man.
Look, in the end, yes, it was nice. But at the same time, I wanted to get information, get video out, get content out, and it was great. I didn't ask a question because I wanted to sit back and observe. I taped the whole thing, and I transcribed all the questions that were asked, and they were very straightforward questions. The media asked, like, how did you feel about only making the one move? A couple people asked, like, was Nick Castellanos on the trade block? A couple people asked, regarding what it was like specifically to try to deal Fiers with Oakland, how close they got. And then, obviously, everybody wanted to know about letting go of Leonis Martin. So I sat back and watched, and that's just a great advice that I got from a lot of media, which is, look, great, you've earned it. You have an opportunity now to do it. But, Vito, you know what the best part for me was? Before Avila started, the media all sat down, and they were all just waiting for the whole thing to get started. So then I walk up last and sit down in the dugout, and everyone kind of peeks down. Like, everyone's sitting up. All of a sudden, one by one, they peek their head out and goes, who's this guy?
Who the hell is this bald-headed man?
Exactly. And then Jeff Rieger of The Ticket gave me the thorough interview and was like, wait a minute. What? And I'm like, hey, you've been on our podcast. You know what we do? Da-da-da. He asked, oh, how many listens do you get? Do the guys get paid?
Really?
Yeah.
A thorough interview about what we do, how many listens we get?
Yeah.
Really?
He asked questions, and he was interested in what we do because it is interesting when a non-traditional media guy's there. It's new. They're like, who is this guy and things like that. And so I said, no. I said to Justin, hey, I'm here because of you. You're the one that said, in order for us to get on the Sports Cave, we got to be credentialed media. Now, I probably don't think that invite ever is going to come, but it doesn't matter to me. I got to show up.
Hasn't come yet for me either. So both you and I.
Listen, all I got to say is this: to walk into that dugout as a podcaster is just a huge ego boost. It's just great because I told you guys I was going to kick the door down. I wasn't going to knock and say, hey, I kicked the door down, and I'm an independent guy that did this, and there it was. So it was a nice ego boost for me, and I propped up the network, and I love Scott Kirstein. He's a fun guy. So you know what he did? Jeff's interviewing me. I'm going into it. He walks up to us and goes, yeah, Jeff, you and I got to get on their network. We got to get a job from them. And Jeff started laughing, and Sky's a nice guy.
He's a big supporter of the DSP network. He's always friendly with you and I, too.
He's a nice guy, and the press conference happens. I didn't say a word. I listened. And I was there in the mix, and it was nice to see. And, of course, the great thing is Superfan Steve is like, hey, you're on the ticket. And so I didn't even know that. And he's like, hey, the supporters are like, hey, you were here and there. And then for a week, my face was plastered on the Detroit News, on their videos, all in their, when you go to Detroit News and you go to click Tigers, there's my face.
Embedded video, like it plays right away when you go to an article
and
about the Tigers.
The article.
It's inside the article embedded, yeah.
And on the outside, too, where people could see, if they scroll down, they see Al Avila and they see my mug
beautiful
there.
Bald-headed
and
face.
To share what it's like. The first day, like I said, it was a little bit nerve-wracking, but Vito, the other part was, what I said, day 3, it was the afternoon game versus the Reds. I said, okay, this awestruck moment, like, oh, shucks, oh, congratulations, you're new here. No, that was done. It's time to get content. So I waited till after batting practice, got there early. That's the key. You got to get there early. 1 o'clock game, you got to get there 10 o'clock. Get your seat, get there, get early, have some coffee, hobnob a little bit, network. So I got there real early. I watched some workouts. All of a sudden, one of the Detroit Tigers beat writers is doing an interview. So I wait, and I walk up, and I wait until the beat writer's job is done, and then Matt Boyd is sitting at the edge of the dugout. He's thinking that it's done, and I'm like, hey, Matthew, can I please have just a minute of your time? I'm with the podcast, da-da-da, and I tell him what I did and that I earned a credential, and I said, hey, a lot of our fans saw you at Jimmy John's Field in Utica. They were really, it was awesome to see you there, and I then right into it. I'm like, can I have a couple minutes of your time? Now, it's just 90 seconds, but it was right to the point. What did you think about the trade of Leonis Martin? What did you think about, how you handled it, maybe being in the mix of someone to be traded? What do you want to, what is your goal for the rest of the year for you? And he handled it. He answered it professionally. Now, it was a lot of athlete speak. It was really concise answers. But for the first time, got content, got audio. You helped me out greatly by being able to take that audio. I sent it. It was like a production. It was cool. I sent it. And not only did we go and report on the game's tweet and be there, I wrote an article. Getting the reaction of Tito Francona to the Hall of Fame induction of Alan Trammell and Jack Morris. Got some relevant news, huge clicks, huge numbers on our website, and we got audio, huge numbers for the network. And so all we have to do is, and the other part too is I got to give thanks to Mr. Chad Kronk, head of PR of the Tigers. I said, look, thank you for what you've done for our entity. It's an amazing opportunity. Basically, the attention we've gotten in the last week or two has been substantial, and it really brings home, hey, when you work hard and you have a vision, you just go out and do it. And we had the opportunity to do it. And I would assume that if you looked at what we did, it was on par with what others were doing. We were reporting, we were giving information, we were entertaining a little bit, interacting with the supporters, and we were able to secure audio and give information to those that follow us. That's all we ask for is, hey, be a good follow, be worthy of somebody clicking on you and seeing what you put out there. And I think that's what we're doing. And now I'm just waiting for you to get off the schneid and get going. I think this weekend you might break your reporting cherry and you might be a Detroit Tigers reporter this weekend. It might happen.
So I might go, you might go, you and I might both be there at the same time. So what time should we get there then? So 6:10 start time, right? I believe it is Saturday. 3:10? Probably be there by 3:10, yeah.
Get there by 3. Get settled. You get there by 3.
And you got there I got there at 10 to interview Matt Boyd. What time did you actually interview Matt Boyd, you think?
About 11 a.m.
Okay.
They get on the field about 10:20.
So a couple of hours before.
Yeah, 10:20, and they practice a little bit. 10:30, 10:40, they start walking off the field, and they kind of you go by the dugout when they're walking off the field, and you can ask for some audio or ask for.
And you have to be outside of the dugout?
Outside the dugout,
Yeah, outside of the dugout. You can roam around the field.
Yeah.
Now, on the playing field, though, or just in foul play. How about that? You probably just stayed in foul play, right? And that,
Yeah.
you know what the other media was doing, by the way, staying in foul play?
Exactly. Well, the media comes out of the clubhouse. They're getting interviews, things like that.
So,
For
like,
us,
we can't go in there. So how did you get down to field level then?
You go down to the main concourse and go down to by the stands. That's how I did it. I don't know if that's...
Oh, really? Okay.
I went down through the stands.
And then you're just allowed to go onto the field because you have the credential.
Yep, they scan you in.
Got ya.
And they scan you onto the field before the
Interesting.
game. Yep.
Yeah.
So, if you know a media member, get some insight, and I'll help you through it your first time around. Maybe you can email and say, hey, if you want someone specifically, maybe they'll be there after a workout and such, and maybe get some audio for you.
Would love to have you there, too, to help me out, kind of, to show the ropes. Now that you're experienced as a credential media member of the Detroit Tigers, so really cool. You've had the chance for 3 games already.
Yep.
Talked to Terry Francona, manager of the Indians, Matthew Boyd, Al Avila before that, recapping the trade deadline, and you said you were the last one going into the dugout when he was talking to the media, recapping the trade
I was the
deadline,
last
too?
one.
You didn't know where they were going at first, and then you found your way there.
I found my way.
And you were there for the whole entire thing, obviously, too, which was very
whole
cool.
thing.
And you got some video time, FaceTime. You were loving life because of that, and you got some content, like you said.
Exactly.
Not just, being awestruck and being there for the moment and to capture your face on video, right?
Exactly.
It's about more than that and getting content, too, for us.
Yep. And so what did you make of now the news of the week? Mike Fiers is gone. Looks like a couple prospects coming back. They have yet to be named, and some cash considerations. Mike Fiers is no longer a member of the Detroit Tigers. Did you see the funny moment on Fox Sports Detroit where Johnny Kane, I believe, was interviewing him, and he's talking, and it wasn't him. The rest of the team covered up the Old English D and put up a white A's hat.
I saw the A. I saw the A that they drew on that and put on his hat. That was really funny, wasn't it?
That's funny, but that's a little bit cold-hearted, man. It's like, let him wear the Old English D. His locker room hat and stuff was still in the background. Man, that was funny to see. But Mike Fiers is going to be now a contributing member of the A's, and they're on a torrid pace themselves. Holy cow, they're making a push. With the Yankees struggling, they might... If they keep up the pace and the Yankees continue to struggle, they might earn their way into some wild card action. They might even, if they keep fighting. I mean, it's going to be a long way to go. But if they keep on this pace, they have a chance to even get back into the division race, too.
Well, the Yanks just got swept over the weekend against the Bo Sox in Beantown. Disappointingly, a 4-game sweep at the hands of the Boston Red Sox. Their arch nemesis, right? Arch rivals in the American League East Division. So the Red Sox are like a 9.5 games up now on the Yankees. So the Yankees... Do they even have a shot at winning their own division? Probably not. They got to win the wild card. Great team, 30 games plus above 500 all year long, realistically. But you know what? They might not even get in because of the A's playing so well. You're right. And really, what we should bring up is that not only are the Yankees struggling, but like you said, the A's are really playing well, which means with the M's who have struggled a little bit in the second half of this season, the A's look like they're going to get in for sure, but the M's still have a shot at getting in, and the M's have a shot even at this point at getting past the Yankees, making it 2 wildcard teams from the American League West Division. Instead of the Yankees getting in, they might not even make it in at this point. I mean, the M's and A's are both in striking distance. Both have the capability at this point with how well they've played for the majority of the season to get ahead of the Yankees and to make the Yankees sit out in October. How about that? After all the talent the Yankees have amassed, after the great season the Yanks have had up to this point. But because of losing to the Bo Sox as much as they have in their slumping ways of late, they might actually miss out on the postseason, allowing the A's and Mariners both to get in from the American League West Division.
Do you think the addition of Mike Fiers will be fruitful for the Oakland A's?
I don't know what you can expect on a Mike Fiers, really, in a pennant race. And down the stretch, trying to get into the playoffs. Is he really that veteran arm that can really catapult them into the playoffs? I don't think he's capable of that. He's not that caliber of an arm. He's not a frontline starting arm. So they have these cast-offs that have come back to the A's recently. Trevor Cahill, Brett Anderson pitching for them. Guys that aren't high-impact, dominating arms. Mike Fiers is a member of that bunch. Same kind of arm, not dominating. So I don't even know what he's going to bring to the A's down the stretch, besides for some veteran experience.
But with the Tigers, wouldn't you say that his tenure was pretty solid? I mean, he came in, and now he wasn't a world beater, but there were a lot of games where he only gave up 2 runs or less. He kept the team in it. He was a competitor, and you would say, and I think I would agree with you, is that he overachieved here in Detroit. But based upon expectation, nobody thought that he was going to really do much, and he came in, and in a lot of contests, he was able to eat a lot of innings and produce.
Well, based on his ERA, but his fielding independent pitching, okay, which is more of an evaluator, a true evaluator of how well a guy's doing in a season. Well, it was above 4. So way worse than his ERA, his earned run average. So for Mike Fiers, you can't just look at his ERA. And it was a large sample size for what he did with the Tigers and a Tigers uni. But his FIP speaks volumes more than his ERA, and his FIP tells all of us that he wasn't really as good as advertised. As well as he was doing, he wasn't dominant, and he wasn't nearly as sharp or effective as you and I maybe thought he was. And others, outsiders looking in at Mike Fiers and what he did in a Tigers uni.
Okay. What happened in Oakland? The Detroit Tigers only scored 1 run.
Yeah,
in
unearned. 3 games. 2 more shutouts, 15 down the season. 17 times they were shut out in 03 when they lost 119 games, the worst season in Tigers franchise history. They're almost at 17 times being shut out this season. Think about that for the Tigers. That speaks volumes about how bad this Tigers ball club has been.
Man, it was a series in which everything in terms of the offense kind of went astray. Nobody was getting on base. Oakland, you obviously know they're playing well, but are they really that dominant? It was unbelievable, the lack of contact in terms of production offensively for the Detroit Tigers. But that first opening game, Blaine Hardy and the Oakland pitcher were going, toe-to-toe. They were, vying for dual no-hitters. And unfortunately, there is something to be said about getting older. I was only able to last, because of the way the game started, I was only able to watch, up until 6-7 innings. It was fast-paced. A lot of guys were getting out. Blaine Hardy.
Oh, because nobody was hitting.
Nobody was hitting.
I think the A's really Blaine Hardy looked good. And then, the Tigers faced Edwin Jackson. I don't know if it was that game or another game, but they made him look good. Eddie Jackson. He's been on 13 teams now.
Yeah.
Journeyman pitcher. And he looked like he was this strikeout artist or this guy that was dominant, H-caliber arm. He's not even that good, and the Tigers made him look that good because they're so despicable as a unit right now offensively. They can't do anything. They can't muster any kind of offense. Nick Castellanos spearheading the movement of not hitting the baseball. Look at him and how much he's slumped in the second half. He's been miserable. James McCann continues to be miserable. Outside of Jose Iglesias, who's really done well in that lineup. Jamer Candelario has it. Leonis Martinez out of Motown now. What can you expect from the Tigers hitting the baseball the rest of this season? It's been despicable already, and it might even get worse, Doc, at this point.
Yeah, and then you go to Los Angeles, and you're playing the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, and you got your guy, Matt Boyd. And Matthew Boyd's been pretty productive, but unfortunately, they were able to tattoo him, taking advantage of some home runs, and they lost the first game in that series. And so they're mired in a losing streak. They're not playing well out west, and it's pretty obvious based on what's going on. When they play away from Comerica Park,
they're horrible. And you showed that stat Monday night on Twitter. You tweeted out beautifully, a beautiful stat that you knew. Probably nobody else did. I know you got it from somebody else, obviously. But very good stat to showcase in the masses out on our Twitter page, right, at Detroit Podcast on Twitter, about what they're 15 to 20 games below on the road. I mean, they're horrible on the road this season, too.
Yeah, but they've had some success versus the Angels. They had a winning record versus them up until this point, but I think it's going to even out pretty soon.
Going in the opposite direction, and really quick against the A's, 12 straight losses. Dating back to last season, May 15th of last year was the last time the Tigers beat the A's. The A's weren't even a good ball club last year. Now, they've been good this year, 20 games above 500, the most majority of the season, and lately especially, they've looked really good, like a really collectively solid squad. But the thing is, they weren't even that good last year, and you've lost 12 straight times to them. And I know the Tigers weren't a good ball club last year, but they started off all right with some talent. And 12 straight losses now to the A's ball club. They're no big-time beaters either. They're not world beaters. They really aren't the A's. So to lose 12 straight times for them, that really speaks volumes, to use that phrase once again about the Tigers, their ineptitude and woes of late, and really woes over the last year and a half now at this point, Doc.
Did you get a chance to see the reports that Mike Scioscia may step down? Now, he's come out and refuted those reports, but there's somebody that's a special assistant to the GM that could potentially be a manager in waiting. What did you make of the news that maybe the next manager of the Angels could be former Detroit Tiger manager Brad Ausmus?
Good luck to Brad, because that team's not going anywhere either in Anaheim. It's not. They have way too much money on that payroll. Mike Trout might leave in 2020. You got all these guys and not enough talent assembled collectively. A few maybe superstar players. Oh, really, Trout? Maybe Ohtani, if he ever pitches again. He might pitch at the end of the season, but he had that elbow ligament issue. Will he be as good, as effective next year when he comes back full-fledged as a starting arm? Will they even use him as a starting arm and as a hitter, as a DH now? He might not even be a two-way player. He was their prize acquisition this past offseason, and really hasn't lived up to the bill. And you have Mike Trout leading the way, but who else is there? Justin Upton, who's been miserable lately against the Tigers, too, since he was traded. He's been miserable against them, and he looked miserable Monday night. He's not happy there, it looks like. Kinsler was already dealt. They've already traded Martin Maldonado, their catcher, great defensive catcher. They've traded away guys. The future isn't looking bright. And then their pitchers always are injured. Garrett Richards, other guys, including Shohei Ohtani now. So the Angels' future might look bleak. I think it is looking more bleak than bright, and Brad Ausmus to be the next guy to take over that club. It might not be fruitful for Brad Ausmus in L.A.
All right, prior to the break, Give me one or two things that, in terms of the Detroit Tigers, you're hopeful for, or something that's been a bright side, a bright moment for you. Has it been the starting pitching? Has it been Blaine Hardy? Has it been some of the pitchers like Liriano who haven't been as disappointing as maybe we would have thought? His appearance wasn't terrible. I mean, Jordan Zimmerman, he came out and gave up some home runs, but in the end only gave up 2 runs. So the starting pitching has kept the team in games, and right now it's just a situation in which the offense hasn't just really, they haven't helped the cause all that much.
Nobody really has it. There's no big impact bat. I mean, who are you going to keep for the future from this core of, just this lineup of hitters? Right now there's nobody that's really sexy that you can say is for sure going to be on the team 2 years from now. Maybe you can say for sure next year, but the team has just struggled mightily 1 through 9. They have. Jose Iglesias is your best hitter right now. I mean, he's been swinging the best bat of late, and he can't hit for power. There's no big-time impact with his bat because it's not potent. So I would say him, though, he's a positive. Blaine Hardy almost pitching a no-hitter, right, the other night. I mean, that was really positive. And what he's done this season, splitting time in between the bullpen and the starting rotation. So he's been, really, you could say, superb. Effective for the most part this season. Joe Jimenez has struggled a little bit lately. Shane Green hasn't been consistent enough. And Jordan Zimmerman, our boy, my man, at least, Jay Zim, has struggled lately. He looked so great, right? It looked like he was turning it around, becoming a top of the rotation, borderline, at least top of the rotation arm again. And then he has struggled lately, so there's not a lot of positives you can speak of at this point regarding the Tigers.
Not a lot of positives, but I guess I'll ask you, is Blaine Hardy's future as a starter? Because, we joked around. I was drinking before the Tigers game. It was the last game I attended as a fan at Comerica Park, and I'm drinking in the parking lot going, oh, Blaine Hardy's going to pitch against the Indians? He shut him down. And that was the victory that they got in that series versus the Indians. They lost 2 out of 3, but the victory that they got was the game in which Blaine Hardy pitched. And he's eating up some innings. He's doing some things, but man, do you know what the biggest complaint we've been getting on our Twitter page at Detroit Podcast has been? A lot of people are hypercritical of the way that James McCann has been calling games. They're saying in certain situations that the pitch that's being called is terrible based upon what the opponent is able to do and things like that. Like people were really upset when Matthew Boyd gave up that home run versus the Angels. They were like, look, McCann is just calling games ineffectively. And people, I think right now, if you were to ask me who is the Tiger that people are the most critical of, I think it's James McCann. People are really looking at him and the way he calls games, and they definitely appreciate his defensive ability. But in terms of his, inconsistency on offense and what he does behind the plate, people are very critical. At least that message us.
Well, he can't pitch frame. He's a horrible pitch framer. Can throw out runners. McCann, great arm.
Look at you,
but he can't do anything else. Pitch framer, he is.
What's a pitch framer?
He is not actually, because it's a guy that can make a pitch look like a strike, pretty much. You put it in the zone where it's a strike. And he can't do that consistently or effectively enough, and that's why he's been a middling ball player offensively and defensively. And right now he's not even a big league starting catcher. He's not of that caliber right now with how he's hit at the plate. He's hit like 200 the last few months. Really, he's a 200 hitter now at the major league level. That ain't cutting the mustard seed for a starter, even for a backup. And a backup should be a little bit better with pitch framing at least. He can throw out runners, but you should be a better pitch framer as well.
So you co-sign those that are being critical of James McCann?
Sure. I mean, I see it, I hear it, I read it. I mean, it's all over the place. So it's not just, you can see it with your naked eyeball. Set of eyeballs, too, if you have 2. So, I mean, you see it, you can read it, you hear about it. It's all over Twitter. People are just killing James McCann, but rightfully so, because he's stunk it up. Has he done anything? He's taken how many steps back this year? People thought maybe he'll take a step forward, maybe a couple of steps forward. He's taken a couple, and really more than a couple steps back this year.
All right, Vito, let's get Vito's scouting report. James McCann, what's the issue? What's the deal?
I think he's just not that great of a major league hitter that hits for contact. And then he's a sparing power hitter, doesn't do it consistently enough, which makes you a backup at best with a good arm, because he has that good arm, but his lack of pitch framing ability makes him a borderline backup catcher, meaning he's more of a 4A catcher right now than a big league starting catcher or backup catcher, at least in my opinion.
Okay, what are the strengths? What does he bring to the table?
Strengths, well, the McCann arm, the great arm to throw out runners pretty consistently, but besides that, what has he done? A little bit of a power bat, that's it. Doesn't do it consistently. He's a 12 home run guy. He had like 12 to 15 home runs last year. Probably won't even get to that this year at this point, at the pace that he's on. I mean, he's been miserable offensively and not good enough defensively to say he makes up for those offensive woes.
So on a team that's rebuilding, you would say that, he's okay as a stopgap, but going forward,
stopgap, long-term future. I don't think he's for sure a member of this team even next year. Okay. I don't think so. Jake Rogers, the catcher in their farm system, might be better off starting him next year to start the season than James McCann. Maybe McCann's your backup, or you just get rid of McCann. He's not cutting the mustard seed. He doesn't look like a long-term member of this ball club at this point.
Okay, what's ahead for the Detroit Tigers this week?
Well, you got the games this weekend where you have Jack Morris's jersey, his number being retired because he was recently inducted into Cooperstown finally after a long wait. So you have this weekend series at Comerica Park, which should be fun. I think should be, relatively exciting. And we'll see what happens, but you just got to hope that the Tigers put on a good show Sunday for him, right, in that day game. And I think the ceremony starts for Jack Morris at like 12:15, so you have to get there early to the ballpark, too, to see everything that happens before the game does actually kick off at 1:10 at Comerica Park on Sunday.
All right, Vito. Hopefully the Tigers can correct the ship out there in California, come back and really perform versus Minnesota, a team that has been underperforming as well. But where are they at in the division right now?
Second place. Tigers third, second, Twins second and third. Hovering around that all season long, the Twins have. They've underachieved horribly. I mean, like big time, not just mildly. They've underachieved hugely. And the thing is, it's good the Tigers are playing the Twins this weekend. Jack Morris played for the Twins, had that great performance, remember, with the Twins in the World Series. So it's good to see. It's fitting the Tigers are playing the Twins for this weekend in which Jack Morris is being honored and finally getting his jersey number retired by the Tigers at Comerica Park once again on Sunday before the game kicks off at 1:10 on Sunday at Comerica Park.
All right, let's take a timeout. We'll come back and we'll recap your Chirco and Company game. It was a fascinating experience. My first time playing softball. Hear how it went. How am I feeling right after this?
And Doc, as you know, one of our fine partners at the Detroit Sports Podcast Network is the Detroit Sports Commission, which brings marquee events to the Metro Detroit area on an annual basis and has been doing so since 2001. And one of those marquee events on the high school and statewide and Midwest level is the Zenith Prep Kickoff Classic, being brought to you August 23rd through 25th at lovely Tom Adams Field on the campus of Wayne State University. Premier high school season opening event, and it's brought to you by the Detroit Sports Commission, and Zenith is the title sponsor this year. And to find out about more of the events, all of the events that the Detroit Sports Commission is bringing to our very region, the Metro Detroit area, please follow the DSC on Twitter and on Instagram at DET Sports. And make sure to check out their terrific website at DetroitSports.org. And Doc, back here on Tigers Talk with Chirco and Company, episode 154. You remember the number again? I didn't really recall it, so you did. I'll give you props for that. And I'll give you props for your great play in my third annual Chirco and Company charity softball game this past weekend at Wayne State University. Once again, a plug for Wayne State and lovely Gary L. Bryce Field, where the Wayne State softball team plays. And it was a great venue, great weather, great day, and you looked superb playing catcher in second. You got a little bit tired and worn out playing catcher as well, squatting all the way, putting your knees down on the dirt. You played 5 innings. Are you worn out now? Are you going to be able to play?
Listen, the nuance of the game really does surprise you because I think it was you that threw the ball to me.
I did at one point. Yeah, I whipped it to you.
And I was shocked at how fast you got the ball to me.
I know you were surprised.
And I was out of position, and I didn't want to get barreled over. Nick was running, and I look at the photos. I was behind home plate instead of in front.
In position to make the play at home plate to get him out, man.
And Nick was nice enough. He was generous. He was kind of a little bit frightful in terms of trying to come into.
He wasn't going to truck, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But I was literally shocked at how well you play softball. I mean, you're all over the place. I know you play leagues, but it doesn't hit home to me like, wow, you play softball. You throw the ball with zip, and the ball got to me so fast that you startled me. I wasn't prepared to get the ball, and obviously I didn't want to play catcher, but you know what? In terms of positions, I say, okay, that's pretty easy. Just catch the ball. And I kind of looked the part, wear the hat backwards, catch the ball a little bit, throw it back. And so I was able to make a couple plays at second base. In terms of batting, I was the first player to actually swing and miss. I batted fifth, and I didn't strike out, though. I was able to, and I do understand why, because I was trying to understand. I think the bats that I chose were just a little bit too heavy for me.
And me too. Way too big for me.
Exactly. So I will be bringing my own equipment next year. I had a glove. It was great, but the bat was a little bit too heavy, and I would swing, and I would notice that, man, it was a little bit heavy to get the bat into the ball. So I got the ball. I hit it hard. You saw the one rope I got to.
Yeah, you had one nice hit.
Nice rope, but I was 1 for 3, got on base as part of a force, and it was nice to be on first base, but it didn't go nowhere than that. I didn't advance past
Well,
first
we never
base.
even moved past first base. Many of us didn't. We had people that struck out, looked miserable. We were hapless.
Yeah, the media
We
team.
were hopeless, man.
Vito sets up a competition of media and athletes versus league players, and the disparity in talent was vast.
Oh, God.
It
was the Harlem Globetrotters versus the Washington Generals. I've been telling people that left and right now, but it really was that on full display on Saturday.
It was unbelievable because we couldn't get the ball out of the infield. I mean, we were on the verge of getting shut out, and that might have been a better
slow
story.
pitch softball game. You got to score runs in a slow pitch softball game, and you can't K in a slow pitch softball game. My buddy, I'll throw him under the bus. I don't think he'll mind it. Justin Browning from Top Kid, who works with me, struck out.
So
Come on, he's an athlete.
So did Tony Harrison.
Tony Harrison, this boxer, 27-2. But I guess, hey, being a boxer doesn't mean that you can hit the baseball or softball. Playing slow pitch softball.
And credit to softball, he walked off after striking out and said, "That looks harder than it actually is."
See, it is harder to play.
It's hard,
isn't it?
And my first cut, I think I whiffed as well because you got to keep your head on the ball, and the pitchers were throwing a little bit high, being that we're shorter guys.
Mitch Miegel.
Yeah, so you gotta kind of wait it out a little bit, and I kind of stood back looking at what I did. I should have stood forward a little bit more, and that's what I'll do next year. It's an adjustment.
Or you can actually wait back more.
I was already in the back. I was in the zone. I should move up to get the ball at a better spot. But it was fun to watch the opponents crush the ball, hit home runs, and all in all, even though it was hot, the shade in the dugout was awesome.
That was nice, yeah.
It was nice. The Gatorades really were great. You assisted in bringing me a nice. It tasted good. When it's that hot, that Gatorade you brought me was refreshing. And the fun part was just cracking wise and making jokes in the media because there were some players we had that never actually played a sport before in their life.
You could tell they haven't swung a bat.
It was fun, but it was so fun because we got to show them, hey, hold the ball, hold the bat like this, throw it like this, put the glove on here. And so obviously we neglected to tell this person how to run the bases because he just ran on anything and it was fun. But all in all, I don't want to throw anyone under the bus.
Even though I already did. But yeah.
The team was awesome. It was fun, and everybody there went there with the intention of having fun and supporting you. And it was fun to take video of you performing. Vito to Rico was a winning combination.
How about that double play combination? Well, he was playing first. Good first baseman. He was hustling, man. Tooney got hurt.
Yeah.
His legs were damaged. My leg is damaged, too. I think you've seen it.
Yeah.
Had some blood. It looked horrible. It still looks horrible, man. Had to spray some stuff on it, man, to help out. Antiseptic, I think it is. Spray to help out. To get it to heal and whatnot.
But it was competitive, and your at-bats were great. We got a chance to periscope those. So all in all, it was a fun experience. You ran a great organized event. Obviously, little things here and there like the timing of the start and things like that. Little intricacies really didn't make it any less fun of an experience. All credit to you. You did a great job. What did it take to plan something like this? I mean, you did most of it with the support of the people that you work with, but holy cow, I said to myself, man, Vito puts in a lot to have to put something like this together. How does this work?
A lot of money covered by the Detroit Sports Commission, though, as well.
Thank
the rental
them.
fee was $1,000, but they covered all that. They covered the parking lot fee. I didn't even know there was a parking lot fee with Wayne State. So luckily, the Detroit Sports Commission came through in the clutch, covered all the fees. What a great sponsor for us at the podcast network, the DSP network, but also for my charity game. Now it's been the title sponsor the last 2 summers.
The Detroit Sports Commission, amazing, simply amazing that they were able to do that for you. And our relationship with them has been awesome. I feel like they're a supporter of us, of you, and the podcast, and they're a prominent member of the Chirco and Company family. All thanks to the Detroit Sports Commission, Valiant brand for the great shirts.
How about those shirts, man? They look good. They were better than last year, I think, even with the gray, right?
Stick with gray.
Okay.
It's a great color. It fits nice, and when you get the right size, you feel good in it. So stick with gray. It pops in photos. Amazing. It looked great in all the photos because white sometimes too bright. I think that the gray with the blue on there with the logo came out. All the photos were great, and I really like the ones of me. I'm not going to lie.
No, I know you're going to like the ones of you because you looked like you were making plays, and you did. In the field at second base, I couldn't believe it, Doc. Actually, you exceeded expectations that I set for you.
Did you see the
really
pop-up that went up so high, and I scooted my way? Good footwork.
You did. You actually went over there. You got it.
Yeah.
You had some nice plays. You were, I wouldn't say superb. Nobody was superb. I wasn't either. Nobody on our team was. But you impressed, man. You were one of the better players. How bad is it that you and I were two of the best players on the team? We should not be two of the best players. I mean, I know I play more than you. I got a little,
you experience
hands up on you, but.
And the league players, obviously, they play more often.
Well, can you tell my brother? Hit 2 home runs.
Yeah.
We had to institute a policy against home runs. If you hit a second home run, it was only a single.
Yeah.
Had to be that. Because look at this. Dominic hit 2. My cousin, another Chirco, not this Chirco.
Yeah.
From Chirco and Company, but Dominic and my cousin Nick, they were going yard, man.
That's it. All I would say is the particulars for next year. Have the Gatorades in the dugout. Have everything on hand. Maybe somebody bringing us the hot dogs in the middle of the game. Other than that, a little bit more catering. It was an amazing experience. I'm saying catering in-game. The food was awesome, especially from the street food restaurant. Your cousin's place was awesome. The chicken shawarma, great seasoning. The hot dogs that you purchase, if they're Kirkland, big wieners.
Big wieners, the big wiener brand. Do you like big wieners? Because Doc apparently does. He did on Saturday, at least.
After a 9-inning softball game, that hot dog was awesome. The Gatorade was great. The auction was great. And the best part about it is knowing that, the network had a small part in you raising over $4,000 for Make-A-Wish Michigan. Unbelievable, especially from where you started year one. I didn't go. Adam was there. He played. Year two, I understood how it went. It was really good. This year, with the full court press of everybody, the further relationships that you've built and I've built, and the network, I really believe, helped you to expose the Chirco and Company game as a real deal operation. It's only getting better. Year after year, you've been making and donating more to Make-A-Wish Michigan, and all credit. And now you're a top 5 contributor online in the entire state of Michigan for Make-A-Wish Michigan. Kudos to you, man.
Thank you very much. And a couple of things really quick. Apparently, Doc likes big wiener dogs after 9 innings of a softball game.
Yes.
That was your first game you've ever played, by the way, of softball?
First softball game I've ever played.
Look at that.
39 years old. Catcher
I finally played a softball game. Slow pitch softball, obviously.
Slow pitch softball.
Yeah.
I had a good time. Everybody there was great. Blair and David taking photos.
Great photos, right? Blair
Amazing.
and David. Superb photographers.
And the best part was the missus got the chance to meet you, and you met my family.
She was there, and I met your wife before, Andrea, but your in-laws as well were there.
My family raved about your mom and how sweet she was, and offering food 10 times and everything, and everyone was really happy, and they can't wait to come back next year for more of the contest. So we can't wait, man.
By the way,
it better.
Chicken shawarma was from 2941 Street Food, to clarify, too. They have a location in Midtown. That's why I had them cater to Wayne State on Saturday for my charity game. Would love to have Nick Sod. He's an operations manager for 2941. Would love to have him back catering because you love the food. We love the wiener dogs. Once again, a big shout out for that. We've got to mix up the teams, though. A little bit more competitive balance. I'm going to work on that because I was too friendly this year. I think I told you. Pretty much put the media all on one team. And then people that only knew me were on my team because they only knew me. So I felt bad for them. I didn't want to mix them up, put them on my brother's team. But my brother's team, once again, was superb. And compared to us, they made us look like dog poo-poo. They did.
Yeah, and so what you do is you'll just have a couple media members that know each other maybe together, and you go from there. And but again, you know what? I would even suggest, knowing that maybe the media is not as good as the league players, keep it the same. Maybe we have an opportunity for revenge.
And then the Washington Generals, the Chirco and Company Generals, right? Can one time maybe dethrone that really good team over there, led by Dominic.
The way we look at it is, Nick technically is media. We'll take Nick. And
we can really,
just really add some league players that maybe have any writing experience. Like, do you write? Come on.
You've helped out at games. You've covered some games technically. You've been around for games and NCAA tournament games. So Nick Schmiegel will be brought onto our team, you're saying, huh? Because of that technicality.
Yeah, just, maybe just call them different names, not media versus league players, but just kind of have the team similar, but just maybe take some of the star players and bring them over to our side.
We should. To really help out balancing out the competition, we should.
But you're assuming the team's going to be the same. I think that you're going to add more players.
We'll have more different players and even maybe more diverse amount.
More athletic players, too.
For our team, at least, because
exactly.
You and I can't carry a team.
Exactly.
We have proved that big time losing 18-4 or whatever. Now, one thing I wanted to add, too, was get a megaphone. I want to have that in between innings to kind of mix it up, bring up the raffle, that the raffle is going on, to keep announcing that, to say maybe who's coming up to bat, to lead to more fun, and for the fans to engage with us as we're playing. That would be a really good addition, in my opinion, as well.
What's the biggest challenge of organizing a charity softball game?
Making sure you have enough players, but then also getting spectators, which we didn't have a ton of spectators. I would love to increase the amount of spectators for next year's game as well. And that's on me, I guess, to reach out to even further people. I reached out to more people than last year.
Okay.
I had like 30 people at one point confirmed.
Okay.
And then think about how many we had. We still had enough, more than enough, but people backed out. And that's why you have to ask more than... more than enough. You want to have more than not enough. You really always do when you're asking, and how many people that you ask. It should be a lot of people that you ask because of that fact that, people might back out last second, last minute. And people did end up doing that too before this year's game. So that stinks, but you have the backup plan. When you have enough players already, then that's a great fallback, then you're fine as it is. And we were fine.
I'm bringing 2 more people myself. My father-in-law's like, I want in.
You should. Let them play. Everybody can play, man. Hey, it's more money to raise as well for Make-A-Wish Michigan, which is the end goal, to raise as much money as possible for Make-A-Wish Michigan.
Make-A-Wish Michigan. Last year, an 8-year-old girl, I believe, had an opportunity to go to singing camp. And
could sing. could sing for a day.
I can't wait to see
fulfilling her dream.
I can't wait. Maybe now 2 people can have an experience, maybe, and split up the money, or maybe one person has an awesome experience. And so, I asked you a question. My wife had wondered why you chose Make-A-Wish. You never answered. You never got back.
I never did. That is correct. I never got back to it. I will answer on these lovely airwaves.
Why Make-A-Wish Michigan is your charity of choice?
Honestly, I don't have a good story. It was pretty random. I knew of Make-A-Wish Michigan. My 8th grade teacher does a play at St. Thecla grade school and middle school where I went to school, and she's always raised money for Make-A-Wish Michigan through the play. All the funds raised at the play go to Make-A-Wish Michigan.
Got it.
Then my soccer coach at DLSL, Theron Mukhtar, legendary soccer headman back at DLSL now for a second stint. He's always raised money for Make-A-Wish Michigan as well. So I thought because of those two dudes, not dudes, but people, that, hey, maybe I'll raise money for Make-A-Wish Michigan as well. Noteworthy, worthwhile cause. And thus far, I have raised over $4,000 for Make-A-Wish Michigan this summer.
Yeah, and thank you to the large contributors. Thank you to the amazing anonymous podcaster who donated money. That's
wonder who the hell that is.
I don't know who
Probably
that was.
not you, right?
No, I don't know who that was, but that was a nice person to so anonymously donate. What a nice person, huh?
Great person. Great individual. Not you at all. No way.
No. Anonymous, amazing podcaster. Nice guy.
Who else would name themselves that? I'm putting a name down for themselves, besides for their actual full name.
That's why you got to donate online, because you might see some funny names going forward.
You do.
That's good.
Hey, Roger Martin, a shout out to him.
Yep.
Once again, Brad Gailey of Channel 7 donating $25.
Yep.
Did not see that coming. So it was great to see all the people that donated.
Everybody that donated, thank you. And for those that helped with a retweet, a lot of your friends in the media, maybe if they didn't come or donate, they contributed by retweeting, advancing the cause, and validating what you are in the media. You're part of the mix. People do respect you. People definitely view you as a really solid contributor to the media, and you're a great journalist, and you're a philanthropist now, and it's great. And now I'm hoping this week you can add Detroit Tigers reporter officially to your resume. I know you haven't done it yet, but I know you will. And like I said, great things. Everybody was impressed. Keep it going, bigger and better, and that's all we can ask for. Now I'm part of it. I'm not going to miss it again, dude. That was great. I want that hot dog.
Well, I want to see you play catcher again.
Yes,
now,
sir.
well, your wife,
Okay.
it was funny, her
I'll be
comment
40.
on the Facebook page
Oh,
for
man,
that
Vito.
photo you posted of you crouching down and playing catcher, man.
My brother-in-law was like, dude, you're going to feel it tomorrow. I'm like, I'm not
Are you
stretching.
still feeling it, by the way?
Yeah,
now, this
my
is how many
quads.
days after? 3 days after
I feel it
now.
in my quads, but I've been working out, so I feel it, but thank goodness I'm part of gyms that have whirlpools. Listen, I'll take being sore for the cause, and I definitely probably hurt myself more by that full-on 10-5-40 that I ran to first base.
Oh, great speed.
If I had
we had so
normal
many
speed,
speedsters.
I would have made that play. And I looked at the guy. And I'm like, he's like, oh, great job. And I'm like, when I save, he's like, no, hell no, you're way out.
You're way out, man. Come on, man. You know what you were saying?
But I ran out of there, and I tried to look at the ball too a little bit. So I
Probably too long, too.
But holy cow, the throws, man, those league
That
players.
team was just way too good, man.
Way
We
too
played
good.
against a team that was like the Harlem Globetrotters, and once again, we were the Washington Generals.
Yes, and thanks to the Sod family for the silent auction victory, everyone who donated to the 50-50 raffle, everybody that came out that did watch, it was awesome. Thanks to John Wangler and his company. Everybody that was there, Top Cat, all the contributors with food and everything, and you for getting delicious food. Hey, man, it was all in all. Look, for a first time, I don't have nothing to judge it against. I had fun. That's all that matters. And I got a chance to take pictures for the website, and everything's just incrementally getting better. And that's all we're going to do is bigger and better. And hopefully the network can continue to grow and help out in any way that we can.
Nice photo op opportunities.
Photo op,
You
yeah.
loved those photo ops. Blair Glover, Dave
Yep.
Donahere, everybody
Yeah.
taking photos.
Great.
Nick's mom was there taking tons of photos.
Nice.
Did you see those?
I did.
was tagged in them. 100 plus
Yes.
photos on
Nice.
Facebook.
I'll look at them.
She's a lovely lady. A lot of great help, great support for a charitable endeavor that I started now 3 summers ago, official in 2016. That was our first annual Chirco and Company charity softball game. It's risen since then to the level that it has become, where we're raising now north of $4,000
You know,
and doing it at Wayne
okay.
State. And now who knows where it will be taking place next year.
I'll ask this before we get out of here.
Yes.
One simple thing. If we recreate that banner in front of me, based upon the level of donations that I have been contributing the last couple of years, if the donation is of a similar nature from, an amazing person, could we maybe put that logo up?
You want your face on there?
No, I want
on the banner. No,
no,
that logo
that
could definitely
logo.
be there. Sure,
Yeah,
the
that
DSP banner.
Yeah, that looks
Let's
good.
put it there. I want to bring the Detroit Sports Commission's
Yeah.
banner,
Yeah.
Top Cat or Valiant's banner,
all
all
right.
the sponsors and donating organizations/companies. Maybe my cousin's place, 2941 Street Food. We can get a banner done for him if he caters
right.
food again next year. So I want to really go all out, man. We
All
should.
right.
I want to make it bigger and better, and that's the aim. That's the end goal as we move forward each and every single year with the Chirco and Company charity softball game.
And I do have opportunities now for the network as well, in that I said to myself, okay, there was a lot of free time. I was resting because I'm so out of shape. I plan on being in better shape. I'll bring a microphone and grab some interviews.
That's what I mean.
Live from...
Do some interviews. I thought you actually would still... You did a little bit of Periscope. I thought you would maybe ask me like Rico did.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that from Rico. That was really cool.
Yeah, I saw he did. I'm like, oh, that's good enough. It's overkill.
And then we retweeted it, over 1,800 views from me just talking for 19 seconds. I love that. And you got me turning that DP as well. So great video, footage, photos, all of the above.
Like everyone
from
says,
all the supporters there.
Everyone knows Vito's the master of the DP.
There we go, master of the DP. You know that, baby. I love that. You love the big wiener dogs. We'll leave it at that on this week's episode of Tigers Talk with Chirco and Company.
If you like what you listen to, check out all the other podcasts, DetroitSportsPodcast.com.
Adios.
See everybody next time.